Welcome back to Inverted Aviators RC. Today we are back with one of our favorite planes, the UMX Conscendo, and it was such a nice day out, we just couldn't pass up the opportunity to take this little guy out and fly it around. And the whole point of today's video was to see how long we could get this plane in the air and gliding around, and it was a whole lot of fun. We have a few different videos on how to modify this Conscendo to make it easier to fly FPV, such as adding a Wolf Whoop WT03 camera onto the top. That's how you're seeing all of these really cool views. It's a really nice tiny camera. Amazon has been slowly increasing the price, I have to assume because of us, but it'll cost you about 30 bucks. But you can get an adapter and plug it into the main board, so you don't have to mess with any wires or any other plugging in when you go to fly. You just stick this guy on the top and you'll get great views like this, and you can actually fly pretty far away from yourself, as you'll see here in a minute. But that's one of the modifications that we would recommend to anybody who wants to do FPV, especially with the UMX Conscendo. It adds so much, it makes it so much fun. While it is nice to see this view, it's just so much better to sit right on top of the canopy, and it's really fun. And even though I said that the main purpose of this was to fly around and, test the flight limit, it's hard not to fly aerobatic with this plane because it is so flippy, it has so much power, and the control surfaces are really large for a glider. As you can see here, I'm banking and cranking and really going as hard as I can with this plane right before I'll pitch up and go straight to the moon. But in the meantime, it is so much fun to just cook around, and I use these light posts as pillars to try to weave around, because why not? It's things that I would do in Real Flight Evolution, which is the simulator I use in order to practice with these planes, because as much fun as it is to crash in a simulator, it really hurts in real life to do so. So after getting that little stint of aerobatic flying out of the way, I just go straight towards the sun as hard as I can, because I want to just fly around and float. And I can do that thanks to two different modifications that we've done. First is the little string on the top. That's called a yaw string, and all it is a little hole poked through that battery hatch and then a piece of yarn woven through, and that'll help tell me which direction the wind is going in, so that when I'm gliding I can use the yaw control surface to point the nose towards the wind, which will create more lift underneath the wings, thus making the plane fly for longer with less power. As you can see here, I put the time stamp on the bottom left of the flight, which will just help us see how long I'm actually flying for, because as I'm flying, it kind of escapes me how long I've been up in the air for, because it's just so much fun to not think about that sort of thing and just let the plane do the work. And the other helpful thing that we've done to this plane to make it easier to glide is install a glide switch. And what that does is, when I flip a switch on the transmitter, the elevator will pitch up a little bit, or it'll be up elevator, which causes the whole plane to just level out instead of diving like it normally does. But with that switch flipped on, I don't have to apply any elevator manually. Instead, I can just use throttle or no throttle, and then I can just use the yaw stick to just keep the plane afloat. But using those few, as well as FPV, makes the gliding experience so much fun. As you can see here, this is a few minute in a row glide, and this is not how long can we have a professional, someone who's really good at gliding, how long can they glide this plane. This is how long can your average remote control enjoyer glide a UMX Conscendo, and it is for quite a long time. We're reaching the 8-minute mark of this flight, which started with a whole lot of aerobatics, and in the middle and near the end here is a lot of gliding, but it is super duper fun. And this is going to be my plug again. If you guys are new to the hobby, or don't know if you want this plane or not, and you're just curious what we have to say about it, it's awesome. It's so much fun. It's so easy to hand launch and glide and just rip around. If you put a camera on the top, it makes it even better. But it is so much fun. If you don't know if you want a glider or a really flippy plane, split the difference. Go with the UMX Conscendo. It's awesome. Links for everything that we've done to this plane, as well as the plane, will be in the description. And if you would like to check it out, that would be awesome. It helps out us a little bit if you buy it through our Amazon affiliate links. But it looks like our flight will be ending here soon. It is a little difficult to land, just because you want to kill the prop before it hits the ground. I was trying to land it as close as I can, which is why I keep circling around here. But before I hit the ground, make sure the throttle's all the way off so you don't accidentally spin the prop when it's in the ground, or else it'll just crack off a propeller. But that pretty much wraps up first flight, so we'll check back in just a second here after a nice little run-in with a local.
It's so quiet and bird-like. How does that happen?
What was that?
It's so quiet.
Yeah, so it's a glider. So
What's the power source?
So it's just this little battery.
Everybody else is so noisy.
Yeah, so it's a glider so that when I turn the throttle off, the propellers go in and they just use any power and they just use the wind.
Really?
Yep. So
but you're still directing it.
Yeah, so I can give it control of all the different control sources. But yeah, other than power when I'm going up.
Yeah, you gotta get it.
It's really cool, especially when it's just about this windy, because then I can go up.
Oh, they're just
and 10, 15 minutes.
And I love the pattern on the bottom when it's kind of almost overhead. It looks bird-like.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, cool.
Have a good one.
That was nice. And that little interaction right there is one of my favorite things about the hobby, apart from actually flying, is just getting people's reactions who are walking by and coming up to talk to us about what we're doing and how we do it. And the people like her who are super interested and curious and ask a whole lot of questions just makes the whole experience a lot more fun, because all she was curious about was how is it so quiet and how does it fly. And that alone is a pretty good advertisement for the UMX Conscendo, because she just thought it was cool and looked like a bird, and that's exactly what it's there for. So if you ever see RC people flying, or I should say, if you ever see us RC flying, go up and ask questions. It's always fun to talk to people about it. And as we get back into this flight, we just want to say thank you for everyone for watching, and for those of you who've given us ideas and thoughts and feedback on what we were doing with these planes. Thank you very much, because it is really nice to get that sort of feedback. And if you have any ideas on things we can add to this plane or any other planes we fly, or just ideas in general, feel free to drop it in the description here, or join us over in our Discord server, because we've got a whole bunch of channels for finding new video ideas or plane ideas or anything else that comes in the RC hobby. We love finding new things and doing it, so feel free to let us know. It's always really, really fun. But if you're curious about the things we've already done, we've got a whole bunch of videos on the Conscendo and the Evo and a Corsair and a bunch of other planes that we really love flying. And it's always fun to get feedback and get other people's perspectives on things that we can do. You won't see a whole lot of this ground shot in this second flight, because for whatever reason, when I hand launched it, the camera auto-focused to the plane that was like a foot away, and it never auto-focused back to the plane off in the sky. So instead of making you guys see what it looks like to not have glasses on while flying, we'll just stick to this FPV view for the foreseeable future. But again, this plane is super duper fun to fly. It's really easy, and on days like today, you don't need a whole lot of wind. Now, people have said that when you find thermals and you find gusts, it make this plane a lot better, but I haven't been able to catch any yet, and that's probably just pilot error. I don't really know what I'm looking for. When I go to glide, I just, as you can see here, pitch up and punch it until your plane falls back down, because that's the easiest, at least in my opinion, to just go up and then kill the prop and let it fold in with its folding in propellers, which is going to decrease any drag coming from the propellers. But adding FPV on top of this plane was probably one of the best decisions I've made with this plane, because it's awesome. You get these views that you won't normally see just from sitting on the ground. And I should also note that even after all of these really long flights, including aerobatics and nod and gliding, these little Spectrum 3S batteries, 300 milliamp, were never warm, never puffy, never anything out of the ordinary. And that might be just because the majority of the time they are gliding and not being used. But if you're buying this plane thinking, man, I don't know if it's going to have enough power or punch, I can only say great things about it, because man, is it punchy. It always has enough battery, and it just does really well by itself. So just the stock 3S 300 milliamp battery on this plane is just perfect. And I just want to dish out one more thank you to everyone who's subscribed up until now, because as of recently, we've just passed 550 subscribers, which is going to be very cliche to say, but I never expected that we would get this far. We're just putting out videos on things that we like doing and little modifications and things that we 3D print and add to these planes. We just do it for fun in the hopes that if anybody else wants to do it, we made videos easy enough for all of you guys to understand and follow through. We had the idea going in that we wanted to make videos that ourselves in the past could watch and figure out how to do this stuff. So just feel free to reach out, and if it's not clear enough, we've got a lot of means of communication with you guys to make it easier. But again, thank you for everyone who's subscribed, and if you're still watching, feel free to like and subscribe and help us out even more, because we're hoping to turn this hobby into a hobby that anyone can do and everybody has the availability to do, and we can't do it without your guys' help. So thank you very much for everything you guys have done, and we hope to put out some more fun content in the near future, because again, it's fun. That's what the hobby's for, and it's just really enjoyable to do. So thank you guys very much. And I've just about run out of things to ramble on about, so I'll let you guys enjoy the remaining few minutes of this flight in the peace and quiet of the footage that we have. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Stick around for some more fun aerobatics like you see here, and more things with this plane and a whole bunch of new planes that we're excited to share with you guys. So yeah, stick around for more fun content. Thanks for watching.